Hey guys, welcome back to another strategy testing video. Today I'm going to be showing you a variation of KENTUCK White's moving corners. Now in the past I did a little mini series, but that was before I was able to build these strategies, add them to the software, and then back test them. Before that, the professor had to go in manually and code everything and build the strategies by himself. Now we have the ability to go ahead and plug and play, create these strategies fairly easy. So we could go ahead and put it against real spin data to see if these strategies hold up. The one I'm going to be running today is called 6-story corners. And I think it's a fairly resilient strategy to play corners, and it has 30 levels of progression. I did just recently get inspired. I seen KENTUCK White's also creating content again. So shout out, brothers. I love watching your videos. You give out some great strategies and insight. So our strategy builder is one of the most popular tools used. So I'm going to just go ahead and pull this up so I can show you how easy it is to share strategies. So I just exported a strategy from my other computer. I have two setups, one I make videos with and the other one I use for work. So I'm going to just show you how I import a strategy. So this button right here, I just export. And then now that I sent it to this PC, I already downloaded it. So let's go and click on import strategy. And then go to my downloads, and I just downloaded it. It's right here, 6-story corners. I'm going to click on that. I am going to open. Okay, so now you can see it has been imported, so it's right here. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and save the strategy, and we are going to activate this. Okay, so now that I added it, I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to VS Builder. This is where I keep all my custom-made strategies, and this is where they will be stored once you create them. So the one we just added is 6-story corners right here. You can see we just imported it. So we're going to go ahead and activate this. And now let's go ahead and get everything set up for the test. And this one, it seems complex, but I'm going to play it out. Very rare does it go to the max 30 level progression, especially the way that I have it designed. I have it playing on a ladder progression, meaning the steps are going to be laddering up and down. And you'll see here in a minute. And if it doesn't go through the full progression, I did create a visual for you, and I will go over that at the end of the video just to show you clear and concise so you could understand it better. So we are going to be using $1 units today, and let's make sure we activate auto bet. And starting from scratch, you can see 0, and we got this activated. Okay, so let's go. Last number that came in is 00, so let's go ahead and punch that in. All right, this is going to be spin number 1. Let's see how this one runs out today. All right, 21 red. Okay, so I am going to, so the first level, the first bet is going to start at 2 corners. Okay, I'm gonna talk you guys through this. And I am playing, the way I set it up is I'm playing random corners. So the software is going to just pick random corners. I think it's best. KENTUCK White's mentioned it a bunch of times. It's good to continuously be moving your bets and being unpredictable versus being very stagnant and following a specific sequence. All right, so spin number 1 was a hit. 21 red came in. We'll go ahead and punch in 21. And this is going to be spin number 2. And of course, we got a hit on the first one, so session high is at 7. I do have this set up to reset at session high. So we got lucky off the first 2 spins. We got back-to-back hits, and we're going to go ahead and click in the next number. So session high now should be at, what, 14? Yeah, session high is at 14. And 12 red comes in. Okay, so we missed that one. I'm going to punch in 12 red. And I don't have any of these corners overlapping. I want them separated because I want the coverage. So the next bet is going to be on 3 corners. We're simply going to add another corner. And if we when we get a win, I'll explain what happens. So we get a loss right there. 19 red comes in. Let's go ahead and punch that in and let it place the bets for us. And I have got some feedback and questions, and people are asking, can this be fully auto? The short answer is yes and no. The only reason we don't make it fully automatic is because, and we got a hit right there on that 2 black, because we want you to be present and monitor, because relying on the internet, some squirrely things can happen. I'm sure many of you guys know internet crashes. Sometimes there's lagging. So this kind of helps you manage the session. Okay, so 2 black came in. Let's go ahead and punch that in. The only manual thing you're doing is actually just clicking in the number. After that, replaces the bets for you. So we were previously at a $4 bet. We got a hit on that 2 black. So now we just peel off one of those streets. And that's what I was talking about, the ladder with the actual progression steps. So right now we were at 3 corners. So I'm going to punch this in because 34 red came in next. So watch what happens next. 1, 2. Now we go backwards. Now we only have 2 corners. And there's different tiers. I call it 6-story. Think about it like a, I don't know, apartment complex or office building. There's 6 stories, which in other words means there's 6 levels. So it's going to be a flat bet. And then we're going to, if we lose all 6 corners, we're going to level up to the next story. So let's play this out longer and see if we get there. If not, I'll explain more in detail. Like I said before, at the end of the video, I have that visual because it seems complex until you understand it. And we get an 8 black. 8 black's going to be a hit. So we're going to go ahead and punch that in next. And we got a new session high at $24. So no matter what, once it hits a new session high, it will reset back to base level. All right, we got another early hit. Beautiful. We're going to go ahead and punch that in. 36 red. Let it take over and place the bets. All right, we're getting good. We're getting good hits early on. I really want this one to struggle. That way you could see more levels, more of the progressions. But I've done some back testing on this, and I rarely see it get past like that 3rd, 4th story level, like that 4th tier level. The way I have it designed is each of those levels are going to then that's when you're going to adjust that bet size. So right now we are still at level 1. Story 1 is where we're at right now. And once we the max corner bets that will get placed down is at 6. And if we lose on that 6th corner, that's when things change. That's when the bet size changes, I should say. All right, so we got a 13 black. That's another loss. And let's see what we get here. So session highs at 38 bucks. And we got a hit right there. So we're going to go ahead and punch in 5 red. And we get 11 black. There's going to be a miss. So right now we are at 4 corner bets. Again, on a loss, we add a corner. On a win, we're going to remove a corner. All right, so we got a 10 black. That's 5 bucks coming back to us. So let's go ahead and punch in 10 black. Let it do its thing. Okay, so we only have 2 corners because we just hit a session high. So if you look to the left of the screen, new session high is at 40. So that's why it didn't go backwards to 3 corners. Okay, so we are in session high right now. 17 black was another hit. Session high at 47 right now. And I really like this build because it does reduce the volatility and the risk factor, because you are going up, you're removing, and you're adding corners. So you're not just continuously foot on the gas and going through the entire progression. So 00 came in. Let's go ahead and punch that in. And let me check my spin count. So I think this was spin number 20. 36 red comes in. 36 red is a loss. So spin number 21. Let's see what we get here. 8 black comes in. Is that a hit? It is. All right, beautiful. 5 bucks coming back to us. We'll take it. And it seems like it would be aggressive, right? You're playing a Fibonacci sequence, but the Fibonacci sequence is paired with the levels, not each single bet. So 22 black is going to be a loss. We're going to punch that in. Keeping in mind our session high was 47. Now we're at 4 corners. I don't think we've passed 4 corners yet, which is surprising, but I'm hoping for some more losses so I can show you more of the progression, but we just keep hitting, which is not bad. But through testing, I really like to stress test these and really push them to their limits. All right, new session highs now at $49. Okay, so we achieved a new session high. So base bet was at 2 corners. We lost that first base bet, so we're going to punch in 32 next. And now we're at 3 corners. And 00 again. So of course that's going to be a loss. Let's go ahead and put that in next. And we get 27 red. 27 red is going to be a hit. $5 coming back to us. Let's go ahead and punch that in. And you can play this however you want, right? I think just being random it just works better. Or if you want to cover like zones, because a lot of you guys that watch my channel understand that I like to follow the 2 hot dozens. So you could place those first corner bet, somewhere in those 2, like maybe the most recent dozen that hit. So we get 11 black. Let's go ahead and punch that in. And new session profit is at 55. So we reset back to base level, which is 2 corner bets at $1. So we have not left the dollar unit size yet. We haven't even left the first tier, the first story, the first level of this progression. I really like this one, guys. This one's very resilient. I actually shared this within our private member group, and yeah, it's awesome. And you can probably make it more aggressive. Many of you guys watch my content. I do lean conservative on my play. So I think making it more aggressive step by step versus tier by tier, if you wanted to make profit a lot quicker. But remember, when you start adjusting like that, more risk, you can often lead to more money, more pay, but just keep in mind, there's always that risk to reward ratio to think about. So we got back-to-back 12. Let's go ahead and punch that in next. And we got 3 corner bet down right now. We are at 55. And we get a 35 black. That's going to be a hit. So that's going to put us, I believe, in a new session profit. All right, new session profits at $61. Look at that. I think that's a 3rd or 4th time that 00 came up. That's okay. We got a resilient system in front of us. And I like this way of playing, man. I was originally just keeping and holding the bets where they were and then only increasing and adding another corner on a loss. But I thought it would be a lot better to play it out with ladder and, getting a win, peeling off a corner, getting a loss, adding a corner. Because that you could see it kind of balances things out. Now, it can get a little choppy and it could get a little grindy on you. But it just seems like, the more you lose, you're getting more and more coverage. I know the payouts aren't going to be as great, but we haven't even touched the next tier. If we cycle through all 6 corner bets and lose, then we go to the next tier. Then we bump up our bet amount, and then we start all over at the 2 corner coverage, and then therefore giving you more profit power once those hit. So let's see. We are at 4 corners right now. Session profit high is at 61. And we get 26 black. That's going to be $5 coming back to us. And let me know. So I am going to post that mini series that we just hit a session high. So we just put 2 corner bets down. New session highs at 63. This is spin number 30. So I am going to add all of those, that mini session that I did on KENTUCK White's moving corners. There's a bunch of good ones, and I'm excited to revisit them now that I'm able just to plug and play and create these strategies very easy. then I could run it on some real spin data on the other channel too. So obviously I could show you visually with the Roulette Royale app, no problem. But I always do want to test against real spins. That gives you a better idea of some real world circumstances. And then so I'll post the links for that little mini series. I think there was like 5 or 6 different modifications that we ended up coming up with. So I'll post all those if you want to check those out. If you guys want to see me build one and then run it on some back testing, let me know. Or if you guys have any of your favorite modifications, you know, KENTUCK White's, you know, he loves his corners and he's created some great modifications in the past. So very excited to revisit this. All right, 3 red comes in, so we're gonna go ahead and click that in. Let's see, I think we're at 34. All right, so we're finally at 6 corners. This is the highest bet we've placed already, or so far. And let's see what we get here. 9 red comes in. Okay, so finally you're gonna see the difference. We were at a 6 corner bet. This is level 1 or story 1. Okay, however you want to think about it. So let's go ahead and punch in 9 red and see what happens next. Now we're gonna move into the second story. Oh, you know what? Sorry about that. All right, so there was an interruption. I had some notifications on, so I have to resume right here. It didn't place the bet correctly. So what do we get here? 29 was the last to hit. So let's go ahead and punch this in. All right, so we got a hit right there. So initially, once you go to that second level, sorry, there's an interruption. I have my notifications on. I usually turn those off when I record videos. Anyways, that first level, that first bet at the next story is going to be on 2 corners. And then since we lost that first one because it got interrupted by a notification, it put 3 corners out there at $2 each. So we are currently at 53. And let's go ahead and punch in the 10 that hit last. And so we're dropping back from that 3 corner coverage down to a 2 corner coverage. And we're still at the second story at $2 a piece. All right, we missed right there. 5 red comes in. Let's go ahead and click that in. Now we're going up to 3 corners. And we get a 5 red. All right, so that's $12 coming back to us. Let's go ahead and punch in 5 red next. So that's back-to-back hits on 5. And we drop back to 2 corner bets. We're still at $2, looking for a session profit to reset. And we get 20 black. So we missed that one. Let's go ahead and punch that in. And 22 black comes in. There's another miss. So we were at what, 3 corners? Now we're going to go 4 corners, all at $2 a piece. We're again at story 2. We're at level 2. And we get 30 red. Is that a hit? Let's see. Just missed that one. So it's going to progress up at another corner. Again, keeping that bet size at $2 a piece. We only change once we get to 6 corners and then lose at that 6th corner bet. All right. So 9 red comes in. That's a hit. $8 coming back to us. So let's go ahead and punch in 9. And I totally lost my spin count. So this is going to be an approximation. I'm trying to put it through 50 spins and see what the test results show. 14 red comes in. And there's another hit. So that's $10 coming back to us. And I think this is spin number 40. So we've got 10 spins to go. I saw that coming too. 0-0 again. That's okay. Let's go ahead and punch that in. Let it place the bets for us. So I think we got 10 spins to go. All right, there's another miss. So let's go ahead and punch in that 18 red. Right, what do we have? We have 5 corners down. We're going to get some wins so we could reset because we're kind of teetering up and down at this level. And we get a 17 black. That's going to be a $8 return. Let's go ahead and punch in 17 next. And we get 6 black. That's uncovered. So that's going to be a loss. We're going to have to add another corner. But still, again, we are still at that $2 per bet per corner. And we currently have 5 corner bets down right now. And we get 31 black. And that's going to be a hit, $8 coming back. So let's go ahead and punch that in. And we were at what? We were at 5 corners. So now we drop back 1 because we got to win. So we peel one of those corners off. And we just keep teetering back and forth between these. All right, so what do we got next? We got a 7 red, so let's go ahead and punch that in. And 32 red comes up. 32 red's going to be $8 coming back. And I think we're near that 50 spin mark. So once it gets into a new session profit, I'm just going to wrap it up. And 33 black comes in. That's uncovered. So very teeter-totter right now. But again, I usually lean on conservative side when I build and play. So you can always adjust this however you want. That's why I always ask for feedback, because many of you guys give great feedback. And you could keep you keep seeing that because the notifications, I turned them off, but I guess I didn't turn them off correctly. And you can still see all those notifications. Those are from our inner circle members, highly active in the group. So we're at a 4 corner bet now. Trying to get to a new session high. We'll wrap up this video. 15 black comes in. There's another miss. We are just floating back and forth between these two. It's crazy. All right, we are currently at 5 corners now. Still at story 2. Remember, there's 6 stories to this strategy. So overall, there's a total of 30 steps. So very long progression. And I feel it's pretty resilient, pretty low risk playing this way. And let's see what we get here. 5 red comes in, and God, we just keep missing it. Just keep missing it. It's okay. And this is something you could play around too with the settings and configurations, is if you want to follow the hot corners, you could play hot corners, you could play cold corners. I just clicked random. That way I just keep all these corner bets kind of shifting around everywhere. I feel like that's just a better way to play, but that's just personal preference too. And let's see, we are at 2, 4, 6. So we're at max corners at this second level. And I seen that coming again. 00 comes in. There's another loss. So let's punch that in. So now it's a little rough of a run. And we just keep cycling up and down. But you can see now we're at a $3 bet. We're starting over at 2 corners. So that we're following that Fibonacci sequence per story, per level. And 2 black comes in. So let's punch that in. So now from a $3 bet on 2 corners, we're going $3 bet on 3 corners. And still, we did go back in profit gains, but we haven't dipped down too low. So let's see if we could get on a good winning streak, and we got another loss. All right. So I asked for it earlier. Now it shows up when I'm trying to wrap up the test, but that's okay. That's why we test. I'm going to test this thing out, give it a fair amount of spins. I don't like to show short minute clips, no 10-minute videos. I feel like you need to see a longer version to see all the potential ups and downs, the pros and the cons of each of the strategies, and what to expect. All right. So now we're down to 3 corners because we got a hit right there. Current profits at 25, and we got a 0 again. All right, let's go ahead and punch that in. Four corners at $3 each. And we get 25 red. Is that a hit? It is. Beautiful. 15 coming back to us. Let's go ahead and punch that in. Sessions back up to 29. Looks like our session high was 63 bucks. And 11 black comes in. Is that covered? It is. Beautiful. $18 win coming back to us. Let's punch that in. That boosted us back up to $47 in profit. I think 47. There's a little offset because of that interruption. So it's 49 on the app, the Roulette app, and on the software it's 47. And we got a $21 hit right there. 27 came in. Let's punch in that number next. New session profits at what, 68, and on the Roulette app it's 70. Okay, so we did finish in a session high. That's going to wrap up this test. But let's just go over here. Check out the stats. So we were at 70 right here. So 70 was session high. We didn't really get too deep in the overall progression because, again, this has 30 steps to it. So now with that being said, let's just go ahead and stop the session and let's see the spin count. Okay, so that's funny enough. The spin count, you can see right here, was exactly at 70. Session high registered at 68 because of that hiccup early on. Got interrupted by one of the notifications, but that's fine. I'll just make sure in future videos I have that turned off. And so session high, 70 bucks. And here's something very surprising too. We didn't touch any bankroll. Okay. I know we got some early hits, so that helps right there. But I've done a lot of testing with this in the past, and I'm telling you guys, it rarely uses a lot of the bankroll. So with that being said, I'm going to show you the red screen. We're going to go over the numbers right now. We're going to talk a little bit more. Before I show that red screen, I do want to show you the actual visual and explain it a little bit better and more detail because we didn't make it through all 30 levels of the progression. And I just want to explain that and show you better visuals of that so you guys can understand the full sequence and progression and how I'm actually playing this. Okay, so that's going to be next. Okay, so let's talk about the actual progression and how this works. We didn't get past that third level, that third story. So I painted out a visual for you guys just to make it as clear as possible. This is a 6-story or 6 levels or cycles or tiers, however it makes most sense to you to refer to. So you can see right here, first level, think about it as a first story of a building. The bet right there, you'll see bet 1 and bet 1 on those first 2 squares. Those are representing our corner bets. So the first bet goes down at 1 unit on 2 of those corners. If you get a loss, we progress on to the next bet, adding another corner. That's going to be our second bet. And then so on, our third bet. And if we get a win, what we're doing is we're laddering down. So if we are on our third bet, which would at this point would have 4 corners down, and we get a win, we're going to remove a corner and it's going to drop down to 3 corners, therefore backing us up to bet 2. And you can see if you go through that full first story, that first level, and you place all 6 corners down, and you lose at that 6th corner bet, you then go to the next level, the second level, and then you restart the corners, but you increase the units. So then that second level is going to require 2 units on 2 corners to start that second level. And then you progress from there. You get a loss, you add another corner. You get a win, you remove a corner. If you get a win, that first bet on the second level, you're just going to go back to the first level at a 6 corner bet. So we are using a D'Alembert ladder progression with the steps. So the actual betting progression stays flat. The bet amount stays the same each of the levels. And then as you increase to the next level, that's when you're going to go up to 2 units. And then from 2 units, you go to that third level. Now you're at 3 unit bets. Fourth level, it's at 5 units, and then 8 units, and then 13 units. So you can see the total bets, the total amount of progressions that this has is a total of 30 levels of progression. It makes that very, very resilient. And sometimes you can teeter up and down within a level. You've seen it happen with the second level on this run. It teetered up and down. It stayed there for quite a while. And then we went to the highest we went, I think, was the third level where we had $3 bets on each of the corners. And we cycled up and down until we got into a new session profit. So we never really pushed this progression too hard. And we did run a total of 70 spins on this. So now let's just go in and review the grade on this. Okay, now going over the survival test grade. Again, we put it through 70 spins. That just shows you how off my spin count was. I thought I was closer to 50, but it went over a little bit. That being said, this is 6-story corners, and spin count went 70 for 70, 100% there. Profit per spin wasn't super high. Again, this is a very conservative way to play. We can play around with the progression and make it more aggressive to make more money, or simply adjusting that unit size a little higher. This could have easily been $700 using $10 units. That being said, the profit per spin came out to $1 per spin. Profit high was $70. We ended at a profit high. Surprising, this thing did not touch the bankroll. We never went into the minus. I know we got a couple early hits, so that's helpful. But even throughout the entire test, you didn't see it go dip down too low, even when we were in profit. I do not have a profit percent of bankroll, nor do I have a total bankroll for this one yet. What you ideally want to do with these strategies is run multiple sessions. Let's say you run 10 sessions, you find that average that it dips down. Let's say hypothetically it dips down minus $70 on average through those 10 sessions. From there, you can just round it up to $100, and that could be your bankroll instead of risking a higher amount of bankroll and potentially losing that. That's how I prefer how to resize my bankroll, just to reduce that volatility and reduce those losses, because they do happen. But when they happen, I don't want to risk a full $1,000 if I'm on a bad session and a bad night where they're just getting horrible spins. So that helps me with that bankroll management, and that's how I reduce and really keep those losses in check. So if you want, I can make some videos on that, show you guys how I resize my bankroll, and it really depends on each strategy that you play. And so the recovery grade, I gave it a B. I think it's solid, but the problem is sometimes you can teeter up and down. But I feel like I almost want to give it a better grade because we really didn't push that progression. But the thing is, when you're playing this way, you're going to teeter up and down at certain levels before you get into a new session profit. And you don't always have to chase a new session profit. Remember that if you want to reduce the volatility and you want to reduce that risk even more, you could reset when you're near a session profit. I recommend that too, especially when you start using higher unit sizes. You don't need to be chasing, let's say you're only $10 away. You don't need to be chasing that $10 if your bet amount is very high at that point, therefore reducing that risk even more. And then the last stat, of course, is the risk reward ratio. We literally risked $0 because we didn't use any bankroll. So it was a perfect score, and it was 100% profit at $70. So that's going to wrap up today's video. If you guys have any modifications, if you guys have any input or feedback, feel free to reach out, drop a comment down below. If you have any other questions about the software, I do have a email set up, roulette.strategy777@gmail.com. You could always email me with any questions you have. And of course, guys, that's going to wrap up today's video. So till next time, be cool, stay cool, peace.